plan. We often look at broken moments in our lives and assume that's the end. The day we failed. The day someone left, plan. The day the dream collapsed. In those hollow pauses between heartbreak and healing, plan. It's easy to believe that we've reached our limit, that the plot of our life has already been written and it ends here, plan. In sadness. But that's not true. That's never been true. A single page cannot define the whole book, plan. The most powerful stories often have their quietest beginnings in places where hope seems impossible, plan. There is a version of you that still exists beyond the pain you're carrying. A version that hasn't given up yet, plan. That version may be bruised, may walk slowly, may not even speak out loud. But it's there, waiting for you to remember, plan. Sometimes we confuse survival with defeat. But surviving even silently is still winning, plan. Every breath you've taken since the moment you thought your world ended is a line being written in a new chapter, plan. Even your scars are proof that you didn't stop where it hurt. You kept moving. We are taught to associate endings with failure, plan, a closed door, a final goodbye, a shattered dream. But endings are often detours, not destinations, plan. They are life's way of redirecting us toward something deeper, something that won't just look beautiful, but feel like home, plan. Just because the people around you can't see your future doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You are still becoming, plan. And becoming takes time. Becoming takes courage. Becoming sometimes starts the day you think it's all over, plan. Your story is still breathing, it's still evolving, plan. And just because it doesn't look the way you imagined doesn't mean it's not worthy. Stop measuring your worth by what broke, plan. Start measuring it by what you're rebuilding. The brokenness is not your identity, it's the soil. And from that soil, plan, something is quietly growing. Something the world hasn't seen yet, but it will. Because you are still here, plan. And that means your story, your real story, is just beginning. We all run from pain. We label it as the enemy, plan. Something to be hidden, something to survive, something to forget. But what if pain wasn't a punishment? What if it was a teacher, plan? A hidden gift disguised in darkness. You see, life has a strange way of shaping us not through what we earn, plan, but through what we endure. The moments that shattered us often hold the blueprint for our strength, plan, and the cracks we try so hard to hide. Those are where the light gets in. Pain is not a weakness. It's a mirror, plan. It shows us who we really are when everything else is stripped away. In your happiest moments, you might smile, plan. But in your most painful ones, you transform, you grow, plan. You dig deep into yourself and find things you didn't know existed. Resilience, patience, empathy, plan. Pain has a way of softening the heart and sharpening the mind. It humbles you. It breaks your pride, but not your soul, plan. And from that breaking, a more honest version of you emerges. Sometimes we believe we're broken beyond repair, plan. But what if you're not broken? What if you're being rebuilt? Stronger, wiser, kinder, plan. The pain you carry isn't meant to paralyze you. It's meant to prepare you. It shows you what matters and what doesn't, plan. It reveals the people who are real and the ones who only love you when you're whole, plan. Pain teaches you that survival isn't about smiling through the storm. It's about learning to breathe in the rain and still keep walking, plan. The world may never fully understand the pain you've been through. They might not see the nights you cried quietly, plan. The mornings you had to convince yourself to rise. But that pain is your power. It makes you human. It makes you real, plan. And one day, that very pain will become the reason someone else believes they can rise too. Plan, not because you told them, but because you showed them. Because you wore your wounds like armor, not shame, plan. We grow up watching stories where someone always comes to the rescue. the hero, the guide, the miracle. And slowly, plan. Without even realizing it, we start waiting. Waiting for the right time, for the perfect opportunity, plan. For someone to notice our pain, our potential, our worth. But what if no one is coming? Plan. What if the person you've been waiting for is you? The truth is, the moment you stop waiting and start showing up for yourself, plan. That's the moment your life begins to change. No one else truly knows what battles you fight inside, plan. They don't hear the doubts at midnight or the fear in your silence, plan. That's why you can't depend on someone else to carry you forward. You have to stand, even if you're shaking, plan. Even if your knees are weak and your heart is tired. You don't need someone to save you. You need to choose yourself, plan. You need to begin right where you are with whatever you have, even if it's just a little bit of courage and a deep breath, plan. You might not have a plan, you might not know the destination, but starting is everything, plan. Don't wait for clarity to give you permission. Action creates clarity. Movement builds momentum, plan. Start with a whisper if you have to, but begin. That first step won't fix everything, but it shifts something inside you, plan. It's a quiet rebellion against the fear that told you to stay small. And once you take that step, plan, you'll realize that the prison wasn't the circumstance. It was the belief that you needed rescuing. You were never helpless, plan. You were simply made to believe that your voice wasn't loud enough, your dreams not big enough, your scars too visible, plan. But you are enough. You always have been. The most powerful thing you can do is stop waiting and start. Not perfectly, not boldly, plan, just honestly. Because the life you're seeking is on the other side of one choice, to begin. Flawed, afraid, uncertain, plan, but still willing. We're taught to hide our scars as if they are shameful, as if they reveal weakness, plan. We airbrush them in photos, cover them with makeup, or bury them deep beneath fake smiles and small talk. But the truth is, plan, every scar you carry is a chapter of your survival, plan. It's a mark of what you've endured and a quiet declaration that you made it through something that tried to break you, plan. Your scars don't make you broken. They make you real. Behind every scar is a battle that no one else saw, plan. A pain that was fought in silence. Maybe it was a heartbreak, a loss, a betrayal, plan. Or a moment that shattered the very ground beneath you. And yet, you kept breathing. You kept waking up, plan. Even on the days it felt like the world didn't care if you did. That resilience is not weakness, plan. It's not something to be hidden. It's your story. And someone somewhere needs to hear it. Not the polished version, plan, but the honest one, scar and all. You see, your scars don't repel people. They connect you, plan. They remind others that healing is messy, that strength isn't loud or flawless. It's often quiet and trembling, but unyielding, plan. There's a certain kind of beauty in those who have walked through fire and didn't pretend it didn't burn, plan. You are still standing, even if some parts of you are different now, plan. And that's not something to hide. That's something to honor. You've come through storms others couldn't even imagine. So, plan. Don't shrink from your reflection. Don't apologize for what you've lived through. Those marks, visible or invisible, plan, are symbols of courage. Let them speak. Let them shine. Let them remind the world that even when everything cracked, plan, you didn't crumble. You became someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate. You survived. And that in itself is extraordinary, plan. We often mistake strength for noise, for raised voices, grand gestures, and declarations of power, plan. But true strength, it's quiet. It's the strength of a woman who wakes up every morning and chooses to try again, plan. Even when everything inside her says, plan. Stay in bed. It's the strength of someone who holds back tears at the dinner table just to keep peace. Plan. The kind of strength that isn't celebrated, but is no less powerful. Plan. It's the quiet persistence to keep going when no one is clapping for you. Real strength lives in the shadows. Plan. It's the unseen battles, the ones you fight when the world isn't looking. When you wipe your own tears, plan. Give yourself your own pep talk and keep moving forward without validation. Strength is when you stay kind. Plan. Even after people have been cruel. When you choose to believe in love again after being hurt. When you stand by your truth. Plan. Even when it costs you comfort or connection, it doesn't roar. It whispers, keep going. We celebrate winners. Plan. But we forget the value of those who endure, the ones who don't quit, who show up even with heavy hearts and tired souls. Plan. Their strength is not loud because it doesn't need to be. It's not for the world to see. It's for them. Plan. It's in the way they hold themselves together when everything is falling apart. Plan. In the way they keep showing up for others while trying to heal themselves. Plan. In the way they stay soft in a world that has given them every reason to turn hard. So many people are strong. Plan. Not because they lift heavy things, but because they carry invisible burdens and still choose to walk with grace. Plan. They don't post about it, they don't shout about it, but they live it every day. And that kind of strength, it's rare. Plan. It's sacred. It's the strength that shapes character, not headlines. And if you've been showing up quietly, plan. If you've been choosing growth over comfort and love over bitterness, then you, my friend, are the strongest kind of strong. Plan. We grow up with fairy tales, stories where someone always comes to the rescue. A knight on a horse, a miracle moment. Plan. A sign from the heavens. And somewhere along the way, we start believing that our healing, our success, plan, our happiness lies in the hands of someone else. We wait for approval, for validation. Plan, for someone to hold our hand and lead us out of our pain. But the truth is, no one is coming. And that is not a tragedy. Plan, that is your awakening. Because when you stop waiting for a savior, you start becoming one. Not for the world, but for yourself. Plan. You realize that the strength you kept searching for in others was always buried quietly inside your own bones. Plan. You understand that your rescue doesn't look like someone pulling you out of the darkness. It looks like you standing up in it. Plan. The moment you stop saying, "Why won't someone help me?" and instead ask, plan, "How can I help myself?" is the moment everything begins to shift. The mirror becomes more powerful than a spotlight. Plan. You stop looking at others for reflection and you start looking inward. Plan. You face your truth, not the one shaped by someone else's lens, but the raw, unfiltered one that belongs only to you. And yes, plan. It's scary. It's overwhelming. But it's also liberating. You begin to see your worth, not as something others must affirm. Plan. But as something you already own. You were never broken, just buried beneath layers of doubt and silence and waiting. Plan. And what happens next is nothing short of a revolution. You stop chasing people who don't see you, because now you see yourself. Plan. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's comfort, because now you're comfortable in your own truth. Plan. You learn to sit with your sadness without needing someone to fix it. Plan. You learn to walk through your fears without waiting for a hand to hold. You rise not with noise, but with clarity. Plan. You stop waiting to be rescued and instead, plan. You become the person who reaches back into the fire and pulls yourself out. There will be moments when you look at your life and feel like it's nothing but broken pages. Plan. Moments when you sit in the middle of the night wondering, is this it? Is this all I was meant for? The pain feels permanent. Plan. The silence too loud. The world moves on and you're left behind with wounds that no one else can see. Plan. But let me tell you something gently. A chapter ending doesn't mean the book is finished. Plan. Just because you can't see the path ahead doesn't mean your journey has stopped. Life pauses, yes. It even breaks you at times. Plan. But it never stops offering you another page. We often mistake our pain as the closing paragraph. We believe that heartbreak, plan, failure, disability, rejection, or trauma means the story is over. But pain is not the ending. It's the comma, a pause, a breath, plan, a turning point, not the final full stop. You were not brought this far just to be left halfway, plan. Even if all you have are fragments of who you used to be, even if your spirit feels like shattered glass. Remember, plan. Even broken glass reflects light. You're still here. You're still breathing. And as long as you are, plan, your story still has room to rise. What you don't see from inside the storm is that sometimes, plan, the most powerful stories are born from the darkest nights. The chapters where you cried silently, the pages filled with doubts, plan, the lines written in fear, they all matter. They're not stains, they're ink. They are proof that you kept going, plan, even when you didn't know how. One day, someone will read your story and see a survivor, plan, not someone who had a perfect life, but someone who fought to live it anyway. The world needs your story, not despite its pain, plan, but because of it. And when you wake up tomorrow, or the day after, or even a year from now, I hope you remember this. Your story isn't over. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't need a perfect ending, plan, just the courage to keep writing. You may not know how to turn the page, but you will, plan, because deep within you is a sentence still waiting to be written. And that sentence might change everything. So, plan. If no one ever told you before, let me be the first to say it today. You don't need someone else to save you. Plan. You don't need a cape, a stage, or a round of applause to be a hero. You need courage. Plan. You need the will to rise every time life knocks you down. You need to look in the mirror, not with judgment, but with kindness. Plan. Because the person staring back at you, that's the one who's carried you through everything. And that is your hero, plan. Being your own hero doesn't mean you'll never cry. It doesn't mean you won't feel fear or loneliness, plan. It simply means you choose to keep walking anyway. Even when your knees shake, even when your voice trembles, plan. It means you own your story. Every beautiful, painful, messy, powerful part of it. And say, this is me, plan, and I am enough. Oh, your scars do not make you weak. They are not symbols of what broke you, plan. They are reminders of what you survived. Wear them with grace. Speak with truth. Stand tall not because life was easy, plan, but because you did not give up when it was hard. And as you step out of this room or close this video, plan, or return to the silence of your own thoughts, I want you to carry one truth with you. You don't have to wait for a hero. Plan, you already are one.